town. Right behind me is the middle school where I went when I was growing up. This was just a undeveloped wooded area, and the owner donated this land to the city. But back to the film, one of the things I want to talk about is the timeline and the technology and how they tie together. HD has been around for a while. Between 2000 and 2010, it wasn't very affordable. There were a few sort of, highly compressed HD formats, but ultra high def, 2K, 4K, the kinds of formats that really match what film has always been able to do, even 16 millimeter film, that just came around 2015. And so this film has been on the shelf for a while, and in the beginning that really aggravated me that I couldn't put together the resources to finish it. With the short film, most of the time they're not profitable. They're sort of a calling card for the filmmaker in a workshop, so that you can develop your voice and your techniques. But finding investors in the way that you would in a feature film, it's hard to do because film is just risky anyways. But it's something you have to do as a labor of love, really. To do it right, the timeline is actually turning out to be pretty good, because if I had finished it in the late 2000s, then it would not have been theatrical. What we studied was theatrical drama, and that's what we all set out to make. And so this film was intended to be a theatrical film, and it was shot in Cinemascope, which is very unique. Now that ultra high def has had a few years to settle in, and the post-production equipment has come along, and now you can have a pretty affordable editing system that will cut 2K and 4K. Even DCI, it's the 2K DCI format that we're going to end up with is uncompressed 2K 10-bit. So that's the best you can get, unless you want to go up to 4K, which really isn't warranted because of the extra expense. And 2K, that's about the resolution of 16 millimeter film. For a short, this is a pretty high-end, I would say at the very top of the scale of production value for short films. Shooting it on 16 millimeter means that archive is there for good with, it's uncompressed. It's 8-bit, 10-bit, 12-bit. It doesn't even mean anything in film. Later it could be rescanned into 20-bit, whatever the technology is 20 years from now. We're going to be sticking with 4K and 2K for a while. I know 8K is coming around the corner, but the next step up from there is using that resolution to be as true to life as possible. And so what you get by going from 8-bit to 10-bit is you get more gradations between the bright areas and the dark areas, and the colors go up from millions of colors to billions of colors. So there's more gradations from the low to the high, and so you get more accurate color. The other thing you're going to get is more dynamic range, more latitude. Film, 16 millimeter film, has about 7 stops of latitude, and 35 millimeter film has about 11. The new digital cinema cameras coming out now have anywhere from 11 to 14. I think maybe there's one or two out there that do higher than that, but you can't see it when you watch it on your high def TV right now, because those TVs are using what's called the Rec 709 standard. That's basically a standard that was designed for television, not for movies so much. But HDR, it's intended to duplicate the quality of film on your television. So that standard just came out, and so in order to move forward with the land in post-production on the picture side, what needs to happen is here in Austin, I need to have a monitoring system that can show all of that information. Color space is a big deal when you're doing color correction. When you're talking to the film lab, which is out in California, and you tell them you see something in the picture that doesn't look right, they're going to say, well, what are you looking at? If you're just looking at your regular old computer monitor, they're not going to give you any attention because you just can't see what's actually in the file. When the Indiegogo campaign comes around, I'm not going to put that on the list of items. That's just a piece of equipment that I need for my company. The new gear is going to start rolling out in April because that's when NAB, the big trade show, happens. And with a P3 color space, that's more color than exists in the 709 color space. Most equipment is 709 capable. So this the new monitor that I'm going to buy is going to be able to support full P3 color space, so that the final product that you get to see that's going to be DCI P3. If you watch it on video, that's the big wild card. Definitely at some point in the future there's going to be support for HDR on streaming platforms, and eventually everybody will have a TV in their living room or a computer monitor that supports HDR. So at some point in the future you'll be able to see it in HDR, and it would be a waste of time. It would be a waste of time to finish it in a subpar standard. It was shot in a cinematic format, and that's what I went to school for, so that's what I want to keep doing. Drama, theatrical, film. And definitely that takes support. For all of you who have signed up for the newsletter, I appreciate your support. And also I want feedback, so I'll talk about it more in the future, but there are some things that have yet to be recorded. It's all off-screen stuff. As a part of the Indiegogo campaign, I've thought about maybe making one of the rewards, or a couple of rewards, the chance to be in the film as one of these off-screen characters. I don't know. I'll have to, once I get done recording the main off-screen character with Steve, then I'll be able to figure that out more closely. Hello, how are you?
Hi there, Hook 'em Horns. I'm
Yeah,
doing great.
hook 'em.
You bet.
Fellow Longhorn. Where does that leave us? Well, the recap is, the sound's almost done. Before we finish with the score, I need to record this off-screen character with Steve, and we've got a rehearsal tomorrow. So our final day got postponed. It was supposed to be before Christmas, but the holidays just kind of ran up on us, and we got avalanched by everything going on. And but tomorrow we're going to do that rehearsal, tweak the script a little bit, and then hopefully within the next couple of weeks record it. Once that's done, then I'll be able to spot all of that in the soundtrack, hand that over to Isaac so he can finish the score. He's just been in a holding pattern waiting on me, and so he'll have what he needs very soon. Then I need to check back in with Joe. I think he's probably by now finished with his the punch list of everything we discussed on the sound effects mix. And then I'm just there's a lot of marketing. A crowdfunding campaign cannot be successful without a crowd going into it. So I'm doing a lot of crowd building work. I could definitely use your help sharing any of these posts, sharing the Facebook page, the website, any of that, telling your friends about it, getting more people on board, so that when the Indiegogo campaign happens, there will be a lot of support for that. And that is, by the way, just to give you the full timeline. This time of year right now is statistically bad for fundraising campaigns. The best time is around May, so the plan is to launch the Indiegogo campaign May 1st and go for a month. If we do the campaign in May, end of May, get the money, and the film gets transferred at the end of May, then in June I have the footage and I can very quickly finish the film. I just upgraded my system with a program called Mocha Pro, and that's what they use in Hollywood for doing effects, tracking, doing removes. If you have something in the shot and you want to take it out or replace it with something else, you have to do dust busting, because this was cut, the negative was actually cut physically by hand, and that gets dust on the film. So I don't know any visual effects artists who are willing to work for peanuts. A lot of short films are, they don't pay, or if they do pay, it's very little. I think the last set that I worked on was a 2-day shoot, and they paid me $100, and I was surprised to get that. So, again, it's a labor of love, and finding people to expand the film tribe is sometimes difficult. It takes time. If I need to do the effects work myself, that's just another skill that I'll have. And then once the scan from PhotoChem comes in the early summer, I should be able to just load that up into the sequence automatically and then re-render everything. And by the end of the summer, by August, it'll be finished. The festival circuit starts around September. So I'll be able to, in the summer, as I'm finishing the film, doing the post work, color correction and effects, I'll be able to start, hopefully with the help of several people. I'm going to be submitting the film to festivals, and sometimes it's hard to get into festivals, and the more people you know, then the easier it's going to be in the future. So I want to use this opportunity to meet as many people, go to as many of those festivals as I can, and shake hands and hand out business cards, and so I'll be prepping for that in the summer, and of course I'll keep everybody updated on any news as it comes in. I've been walking for long enough. I think I'm gonna put up the camera and go for a jog. Thanks for your support, and I'll see you next time.